5 Tips for Basketball Player and Coach Success. Tamica Goree sharing tips for basketball player and coach success. If you choose basketball exercises that give your players the best chance to improve, I recommend dividing your exercises into the following 4 periods. If you practice something you don't consider, for example, filling up defenders to give an outlet to ball distribution when he is in trouble, your offensive breakdown drills will not enable your players to play a 5-on-5 game. The exercises you perform with your team in your drills must be designed to provide and practice the skills that the players you coach need for the team's success in using your game system. A good coach should be able to communicate the defensive and offensive philosophy of the team in a way the players understand and follow. Understanding this is important so that players can use basketball training to improve their game. It is up to you as a team leader to create the kind of practice and playing environment that is best for your players. Young basketball players are often overwhelmed with new skills and rules, and they need to learn to protect themselves from negative and critical basketball coaching. By remaining true to the basic principles embedded in your coaching philosophy as you design your practices, instruct and correct your players and behave in game situations, you are on your way to a successful and memorable season for all players of the team. Instead of thinking about X's and O's and practice exercises for each position of the player, it is important to take time to establish basic principles to build your coaching philosophy. In order to be a good basketball player, there are skills and techniques you have to develop. Performing these 5 skills is acceptable at a qualified level to be considered a great basketball player. For every player who wants to improve the game of basketball, here is some advice for maximum development. Without these exercises, a basketball player will not have much success if he does not practice the necessary skills to develop his game. The safety of these exercises is that they will improve the skills of your players in basketball and lead to a reduction in turnovers. A great basketball coach will find a way to combine practice drills with real game scenarios so they can pick out the little details that will help you develop the player. Everyone should see basketball games not only as an opportunity for the player to develop, but also as a coach and general fan. You can watch them from youth through high school and see what the players see. If you defend your team's best player 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, how much easier it is for them than if you only have 40 minutes in the game. Train at game speed and try to move from practice to game speed because it is so much easier to step on the ground in a real game. One of the biggest mistakes players make in training is to put 50% effort into practice. You don't hear coaches complaining that players who leave the hall have to give everything because they've had a tough game. If you want to be a great basketball player, you have to commit to working on your game for the long term. As basketball coaches, we challenge our players to lift weights, play more and watch movies as part of the job quickly in the gym. Whether it is a player playing against the other team, against the clock or trying to undercut his personal best, you will find that training intensity and individual motivation increase and the children feel that they are playing the game better. The best investment as a basketball coach is to educate youth players how to read and react to offense. Whether you're a young player learning basketball or college athlete trying to transform himself into a coach who wants to help his team, you should always look for new basketball training tips to improve your game. In your learning efforts, make sure that the substance of the material corresponds to the abilities, age, and maturity of the players you are coaching. Great youth basketball coaches work hard to improve and optimize the smallest details to help players reach and exceed their potential. There is no place in the game for youth basketball players to learn how to 1. Make passes, 2. Become stronger, 3. Throw two-handed chest punches and 4. Throw overhead passes. If you have more than one coach on your team, you can use exercises to teach screen reading and how to use screens as an offensive player. When you give the children a time limit, the goal is to get as many shots as possible, but the time limit can be adjusted depending on skill levels so that each player can shoot at least twice if you have a large group at both ends of the floor. Playing fullback is easy, but I want to rest and get the players back into the game. You know who your best players are. Discuss briefly the common problems and unacceptable behavior of parents during the game, yelling at their own children, yelling at referees, other team players and coaches in the stands.